Hello everyone, welcome back to the video. And today we are going to solve TCS verbal ability previous year questions. This is the most crucial part of your TCS NQT preparation. And remember, verbal questions, that is the verbal ability questions in TCS, are not just about English grammar, right? They test how well you understand the context, the vocabulary, and the logic in communication. The level of the questions is moderate, but the tricky options can make it kind of a game of clarity and precision. So we'll take care of that. All right, that's not at all an issue. So stay with me throughout the video and I'll walk you through some of the previous year questions, not only giving you the right answers, but also the reasoning and the grammar concepts behind each questions. Right. So by the end of the session, you'll be confident enough to, prep yourself for TCS verbal ability. This is one of the huge hiring, and it is a major gateway to most of the, placements. A lot of students get placed in TCS NQT. So I pray that all of you get selected, and let us quickly go to solving the questions. All right. So before that, I wanted to also mention, right? I wanted to also mention the number of questions they ask. Sometimes it's between 25 to 30 questions, and sometimes the level of questions depends upon if they're asking passage comprehensions and something related to describing or parajumbles. So when it's passage comprehension, from the same passage, there's a possibility that they can ask 3 to 4 questions. Right. So in that aspect, if there are 25 questions, the 3 questions might come from the passage itself. So if the pattern is going to be like that, then it's actually an advantage. So let us not look into all of this stuff. This is something that I wanted to share with you guys. So let us quickly start. All right. So I think you're able to see the presentation. Let me quickly grab the marker so that we can discuss the answers. All right, let us read. Some part of the sentence below may contain error. Identify the part. If there's no error, choose no error. So what we're expected to do in this particular question is that you'll read the sentence. This is basically error identification, yeah. So you can read the sentence and then identify where the error lies. All right, so let us read and let us try to identify the error in the sentence. The new computation algorithm combines scores with multiple measures of quantitative assessment. So how do we identify errors? What is the main aspect, or how quickly can I know where the error in the sentence is? That is something which is to be discussed, right? So anytime you look at a sentence, please follow the subject verb and agreement because that will help you identify where the error is. Okay. So the subject has to follow with the verb as well as the object and the adjunct, or sometimes look for cause and effect, right? If this particular event or if this particular subject or object is happening, then the corresponding output is kind of predictable, right? So you can look at that as well. In this case, the new computation algorithm, so this becomes our subject, combines scores with multiple measures of quantitative assessment. Okay. So the subject follows with the verb, which is combines scores with multiple measures of quantitative assessment. The sentence seems fine to me. Let us look at the options and we'll be able to maybe grasp. The new computation algorithm combines, there's no error in this part of the sentence, scores with multiple measures. there is no error here as well. I don't see any errors here. Of quantitative assessment. No, there's no error in this part of the sentence either. See, sometimes there might be errors, there might not be errors. So read the question very carefully in order to identify the errors, right? So in this particular sentence, there are no errors, and therefore option D would be your correct answer. Let us go to the next question. This is a fill in the blank from the grammar topics. So speaking of the grammar topics, there can be questions from articles, prepositions, I mean, basically the parts of speech, and a lot from question tags, interjections, and a little bit of passage comprehension. Can expect questions from there as well. So let us proceed with this particular question. Fill in the blanks. Children were quite sad when they did not see butterflies splitting blank the flowers. So, what is the most appropriate preposition that is going to fill into this particular blank? Anytime we are talking about two or more things, or the correct preposition, I think this would be perfect. The correct preposition for movement within a group of things or between any two things, right? We use between for two or more things. We use between for two and among for more than two. That is a correct use of preposition. So here they're talking about butterflies. So definitely it's not two, it's more than two. And therefore the correct preposition here would be among. Children were quite sad when they did not see butterflies flitting among the flowers would be your correct answer. Let us go to the third question. All right. So this is from degrees of comparison, and we are expected to find out the correct comparative adjective. Right. I've also mentioned what sort of a question it is in the top as well, so that you get more comfortable with answering them. We have found that between Vinaya and Akruti, Vinaya makes blank errors in her work. See, most of the questions will be repeated in different exams, right? You can expect, or you can see different questions. If you have given many interviews, you would have seen a lot of questions being repetitive. All right. So let us look at this question. It says, we have found that between Vinaya and Akruti, Vinaya makes blank errors in her work. Vinaya makes largest, smallest, shortest, and fewer. These are the options. And the most appropriate answer would be fewer. Why? Because you can't be making a lot of errors in your work. So it's not largest, obviously. And between smallest and shortest, short, it refers to distance. Right. So out of options A, B, and C, option D would be the most correct answer when it comes to question 3. Let us go to question number 4. All students of the class decided to head to the principal's office to complain for the new teacher's misconduct. And it is an error identification question. Once again, let me repeat myself so that it stays stay within your heads. All right, so look for the subject verb agreement, basically the SVC pattern. So once you identify the subject, you can quickly go and check if the verb follows the subject and consequently the object and the adjunct as well. So all the students of the class, so they're talking about the students here. So all the students are the subject of the class of where? Okay, of the class decided to head to the principal's office. So the subject is all the students. The object is the class. Okay. And decided to head to decided to head. This becomes your verb, being an action word. To where? Anything that answers the question where is your adjunct. So the principal's office becomes the adjunct. To do what? To complain the new teacher's misconduct. So to complain the new teacher's misconduct is your object again, but Direct object answers the question what, and indirect answers to whom. So you can look at that and identify if it's direct or indirect object. But for solving questions, it's sufficient if you know if it is a subject, object, or a complement. All right. So yes, so let us identify the question here. So all the students of the class decided to head to the principal's office to come. Okay, there's no error till here. Okay, all the students of the class decided it's correct to head to the principal's office. Okay, that also seems correct. I don't think there are errors in that part. And complain to and complain. Okay, to complain for the new teacher's misconduct. I think the error lies somewhere here. It should have been complain about. Yes, it should have been complain about. So it will be all the students of the class decided to head to the principal's office to complain about the new teacher's misconduct. It's not for, but about. So therefore, the error lies somewhere here. So let us look into the options to pick the most correct one. So I see only one option with the word complain here. To complain for the new teacher's misconduct, right? So this is the part of the sentence that has an error. Yes. So let us go to the next one. Now, this is actually really a good question, a tricky one as well. See, sometimes they'll give you fill in the blanks and they will ask you to choose two words that fit into both the blanks. Right, so you'll have to pick a pair that is going to match perfectly into them. You can't go ahead and choose the first one from option A and second one from option B. That is not allowed. You have to choose both from the same option only. Let us read it and let us solve. One will have to constantly blank the weather. It also takes a lot of blank to raise the mast. All right, so what could be the most appropriate answer for this one? One will have to constantly check the weather. It's not search or scrutinize. We commonly check the weather, not scrutinize, right? Or search. And if it is check, there are two options, C and D here. And there are two words along with check. So let us look at it. It's effort or endeavor. So effort would be the correct noun meaning, or the physical or mental energy that is used to do something, right? So it is effort would be the most correct one. And let's check it once again. One will have to constantly check the weather. It also takes a lot of effort to raise the mast. So it is option C. C would be the most correct answer in this particular question. So read the questions 2 or 3 times. It's completely fine. You can take a minute or 30 seconds to understand the question and then go ahead and solve the answers as well. Let's go to the 6th question. Again, we have another identification. Oh, wow, Mrs. Diggle's question. This is one of the most repeatedly asked questions. Yeah, trust me when I say maybe the part where the error lies could be different, but the sentence is like so frequently repeated. Mrs. Diggle wanted her children to be hardworking, sincere, and punctual. All right, so let us identify the error. Mrs. Diggle is the subject here. We're talking about a woman, Mrs. Diggle. And what does she want? She wants her children to be hardworking, sincere, and punctual. The sentence seems fine here. Or, matlab, I don't think there are any errors in this. So, yeah, there's no error here as well. Like, you can also look for punctuation errors, but hardworking, sincere, punctual, they're properly punctuated as well. So it's no error. All right, this sentence does not have any error once again. And this sentence has the error in the preposition. So I marked it out for you guys so that you can solve questions more easily, right? You can look for prepositions. You can look for errors in the punctuation marks. You can look for errors in the articles. These are the places where mostly the people who conduct exams place faulty errors or kind of play tricky questions so that we get confused. So you can look for errors in these places and you can easily correct them when it comes to error identification. All right. He had been married with a doctor for 5 years. All right. He had been married with a doctor. So what is the preposition here? With is the preposition. So obviously the error has to lie somewhere here. All right, so the error is in option D. That is, this is the part of the sentence that has the error. With a doctor, that is the part of the sentence that has the error. Let us go to the next. Fill in the blanks using the correct conjunction. Let us read the question. Shreya will keep working for you, blank, you are respectful towards her. Shreya will keep working for you as long as you are respectful towards her. It's not for, it's not as long, it's not as soon as. It's as long as you are respectful towards her. As long as would be the most correct conjunction in this particular case. Let us go to the next question. These are all very easy ones, yeah. You can like easily clear these kind of questions. An identification, and this one is from question times. The children are quick to grasp, isn't it? So what is the most common rule in question tags? A positive question has a negative tag and the negative question has a positive tag. Right. And how is the tag formed up? How is the question tag formed? It's usually the verb, right? It's usually the verb that forms your tag along with the question. So what is the verb here? The verb here is are. So it should have been aren't they. The verb followed by the pronoun usually forms the tag. So it should have been aren't they and not isn't it. So the error is isn't it, okay? And the error lies in this part. So let's choose option B as the part of the sentence that has error. Okay, this one is para completion. So how do I answer these kind of questions? So when you encounter a paragraph completion question, first thing that I would tell you is understand the concept of the paragraph, or at least try to make out what the paragraph actually is trying to convey. So once you do that, you'll be able to connect the dots or the points when you read the sentence options. Right, they've given us 4 options, A, B, C, and D. From them, we can, I think I'll point it out for you. So it's here. So from these, you can pick the ones that make the most sense into this particular paragraph. And if at all you find one of the options correct, if you find one option correct, another thing you can do is you can quickly go to the options and check if there are like the pair that follows the correct answer that you've chosen. And if there's only one option that matches it, I mean, from the multiple choices provided here, then you can blindly choose it because it's going to be correct, right? So let us try this particular question. An eclipse takes place when a heavenly body comes between another heavenly body and the observer. Between another heavenly body and the observer, partially or totally blocking its light. So they're talking about solar eclipse. No, just an eclipse. Okay. A solar eclipse occurs when there's a shadow, blank. The maximum number of solar eclipses that can occur in a year is 1. Okay. During this, the sun, moon, and earth come in a straight line. Now, this is a bit factual. So if you are not aware of certain facts, right? So you might not be familiar with the fact that the sun, moon, and the earth lie on the straight line when, during eclipse. Okay. So, the sun, moon, and the earth come in a straight line. Like, it's kind of factual. Okay. So, if at all you're not very sure of what could fit in, okay, so then you will not be able to understand it. So, go through your facts as well. There are two types of eclipses on Earth, solar and lunar. Yes, of course. Every year, at least two solar eclipses occur on Earth. This is not predictable. A lunar eclipse happens when Earth comes between the sun and the moon. Okay, so let us read the paragraph once again. An eclipse takes place when a heavenly body comes between another heavenly body, partially or totally blocking its light. Okay, now what is the sentence that supports the first sentence? So, firstly, we're talking about what an eclipse is. So, if you look at these sentences, after talking about what an eclipse is, you can't straight away go and tell what happens during an eclipse. Like, first, we're just introducing what an eclipse is in the first sentence. And then we can slowly start telling about the two types. That is a good habit, right? That is a good way of explaining. So, I think option B can go. There are two types of eclipses on Earth, which is solar and lunar. Right, let's go check. There's only one option with B. So, I think it has to be option C. Every year, at least two solar eclipses occur on Earth. Let us read it all together. An eclipse takes place when a heavenly body comes between another heavenly body and the observer, partially or totally blocking its light. There are two eclipses on Earth, solar and lunar. A solar eclipse occurs when there's a shadow. Every year, at least two solar eclipses occur on Earth. Yes. So C complements the previous sentence and B complements the first sentence. That is, they continue each other. And then we're talking about lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse happens when the Earth comes between the sun and the moon. So if at all there was an option here, we could have fitted in D. But here they're just talking about solar eclipse. Another thing you can use for fitting in your options is if the two sentences, like if at all there's a blank between two sentences, and if the main topic of interest between the two sentences, that is, the subject is the same. And this sentence also they're talking about solar eclipse. And in the next sentence, also they're talking about solar eclipse. So the point that is going to come in between obviously has to be the sentence that has the similar kind of subject. So I could have even chosen C. I could have blindly chosen C to be option number 2. So if I had chosen that first, then I'd probably look at A and C, and then I'll have to pick between both. So that is also one way of solving. All right. So the correct answer for this is option C, which is 1B and 2C. Let's go to the next one. Question number 11. So this is a sentence arrangement question, right? So let us try to solve this particular question. So this is sentence rearrangement. Ginger is a commonly consumed aromatic spice which contains a bioactive compound called gingerol. And two sentences are supposed to come in between, which is S2 and S3. Some people complain of bloating. Okay. And we're supposed to find S2 and S3 from P and 3. Okay. So S2 and S3 will be coming in between. Let us read the options. It is known to calm nausea. Ginger belongs to the Zingiberaceae family. See, this is a biological term. You don't have to worry about understanding it. It's just a family name in biology, right? It belongs to the Zingiberaceae family. Gingerol has a strong anti-inflammatory purpose. Okay. So, looking into the options, first, they're introducing us to gingerol. Okay. So if they introduce us to gingerol, then the next sentence that follows has to start with gingerol, I suppose. So it has to be gingerol has a strong anti-inflammatory properties. So I think it's option R. R will be coming in S2. And if I look at the choices, there are two options. B and D has R as the first one. So it should be the Q or B. Obviously, there are two options. All right. It could be one of these two. Okay. So, right. Ginger belongs to the Zingiberaceae family. It is known to harm nausea. All right. So if I put Q on S3, okay, it would kind of, I mean, it is factually correct, but it would not fit into the sentence or the paragraph. Right. So out of nowhere, if I'm gonna say that it belongs to this family and then come again and say that some people complain about bloating, it is not going to fit, right? So it's not Q definitely for sure. And we can choose P as the option. It is known to come nausea, and then the sentence goes on, but some people complain of bloating. So it has to be R and P. S2 will be R and S3 will be P. So option D will be the most correct answer for this particular sentence rearrangement. Let us go and do the 13th question. This is again a sentence rearrangement question. My mother had been overweight. There were no use crying to my grandmother. She started giving me lectures on her weight. It has to be completed. Okay, S1 and S4 are provided. P, Q, and R are the options. Okay. And we'll have to choose S2 and S3, which is going to come in between. Okay, I have a feeling that this question is also most commonly repeated in a few of the placement exams. I have a feeling. All right. So my mother had been overweight. Okay, so it talks about a mom who has been overweight. And see, sometimes they like instead of giving the entire sentence, they can give sentences in half. Okay, so at that time, it sort of makes it difficult for us to read it, but we'll have to answer it either way, right? All right, so let us try to solve it. Okay, options are B, Q, and R. So let us read them so that we'll know how to explain. After S1, my mother had been overweight. Okay. And after that, she started giving me lectures on my food was regulated, her memory of overcoming. Okay. So it talks about my mother, and these two also start with a subject having the mother. So it has to be either P or R. P or R. Out of both, one can be your first sentence that is going to fit into S2. Okay. So on after careful examination, she started giving me lectures on her memory of overcoming severe problems of obesity kicked in. Okay, her memory of overcoming that sentence, um, it kind of looks like cause and effect. Okay, so after S1, her memory triggers, it feels like it's triggering some of the actions. So this is like cause and effect. Okay, so that is going to lead to some result. So I have a feeling that it is RQ because her mom was overweight and her memory of overcoming several severe problems of obesity kicked in, and therefore she had to do something to her daughter. So her food was regulated, and there was no use crying to the grandmother. So I have a feeling that it is RQ, but it can be RP as well. Okay. So let me quickly check the answers. Um, okay. It is RQ, guys. It's RQ. I was right. Right. So that is about this question. Let us go to the next one. This is paragraph completion. Again, another interesting question. Let us read it. Civilization's progress must be measured not only by its scientific and industrial achievements, but also by its moral and social development. Okay, so we're talking about civilization's progress. That is, one's a threat to the very existence of mankind if misused. But if the current trend continues, the future of the world will indeed be gloomy. Okay. So let us look through the options. So the first thing talks about some industrial progress, and in the options provided, but the advancement in science and technology is a mixed blessing. However, it has been observed that modernization has widened the gap between nations. We are bringing out industrial progress without giving much thought to its consequences. Man has become a slave to his own inventions. All right. So, from these four options, this seems like a conclusion. Man has become a slave to his own inventions. Feels like a conclusion. So, let me score it off. Okay, so that it becomes easier for you guys to identify which one would be the most correct answer. All right, so, but the advancement in science and technology is a mixed blessing. Um, okay, this could go into the second blank, okay? This could go here. So if that goes into the second blank, then I'm left with B and C. It has to be one of these, obviously. All right. However, it has been observed that modernization. So we're not talking about modernization in the first sentence. It's about some industrial progress. So it has to be 1C and 2A. Okay, so the correct answer is option C, which will be 1C and 2A. I think that will be your most correct answer. All right, let us go to the next question. Okay. So, okay, in this particular question, this is a fill in the blanks question again. So, let us read it and try to answer. The East Coast Road takes you to this, okay, it's a blank, which is on the shore. This 7th century city, which was once land, is a seaport. Okay. So from these provided options, we will have to choose one. Okay. So, and let us try to quickly solve this. Okay. So, the East Coast Road takes you to this momentous historic. It's not fateful, obviously. But it could be momentous or historic. Let us look at the other option as well. The stuffed steamboat does not seem correct. It's not going to be that. So it will be the East Coast Road takes you to this historic, which is on the shore. This 7th century city, which was once a busy seaport. So it'll be option C, which fills into the blank properly, which is historic here and busy here. It's busy seaport and historic. A historic is simply used to, describe huge monuments. Right, beautiful pieces of architectures are sometimes referred to as historics. Let's go to the next one. Error identification. One of the unreturned book was found in the parking lot. One of the unreturned, okay, there's definitely an error in this question because it just feels like it definitely has an error. Right, let's look into the grammatical part of it. So, one of the, I think there's some error here, okay, because yes, the phrase one of the is always followed by a plural, okay? And if you look here, it says one of the unreturned book. It should have been one of the unreturned books was found in the parking lot. So the errors here. So if I look at the option, the unreturned book, it should have been books. So it's option A that has an error in this particular question. So let's go to the sixth. So if at all you're not clear, I identified it because one of is always pairs with a plural. Okay, though the verb stays singular, one of always pairs with plural. Okay, let's go to question number 16. So this is error identification again. Maybe TCS loves to have error identification questions in plenty. All right, so let's read it and proceed. The soldiers, in an attempt of showing their loyalty towards the king, fought ruthlessly until the end of the war. Okay, and the error that is gonna be, hmm, let's identify the subject because, see, even when I try to explain, I'll have to identify and then only do it. The soldiers are the subject. So let's split it. In an attempt of showing their loyalty, in an attempt, in an attempt is verb. This is the verb part. Their what? Loyalty, which is object. Towards whom? The king. So this is again an object. This, oh, I'm so sorry. I drew a circle over here and it became, I'm so sorry about that. So showing the loyalty towards their king, fought ruthlessly until the end of the war. So this part is what's wrong. Okay, so this part is correct here. This part is absolutely correct. There's no error here. So it's either in this first. Let's look then to the options. It's not D. It's not D. So it has to be somewhere here or their loyalty towards their king. Towards the king, their king. Okay, it is correct. Their loyalty towards their king. It is correct. So I think it's option A. The soldiers in an attempt of showing. Yes. All right. So after attempt, so the error is here. See, usually it takes time to identify, even if it is me. Right. After the word attempt, we use an infinitive that is like 2 plus the verb. Okay, not of plus verb plus ing. Instead of that, we will use an infinitive, which is 2 plus the verb. So hence, in an attempt to show their loyalty. So it should have been to show and not of showing. So this becomes like the preposition plus the verb plus the ing. So that is not correct. So after attempt, we use the infinitive 2 plus the verb. So that is the proper explanation for this. I hope it's clear. Let us go to the next one. So option A is the correct answer for question number 16. All right. Now there's another passage comprehension. Let us read the passage and try to answer. Mental health refers to a state of, okay, let's do something else. So every time you get passage comprehension, okay. So if there's a possibility to read the questions priorly, please go ahead and read the question because you need not waste time reading the entire passage. If the answer lies in the first half itself, you can quickly pick it out and go to the next question very quickly. Okay, so if at all your browser looks something like this, the question here and the passage here and the question here, please read the question and then go to read the passage. I would suggest that. But if you're not able to, backtrack with your questions, please avoid doing that. Otherwise, you might miss reading the passage. If at all the browser does not support it. Okay, if you can't go back, then please don't use this method. But if you can try doing this particular method. So let us quickly go and read the question. Which of the following statements is not true according to the passage? Okay, so I guess we'll have to read the entire passage in order to identify this. Let's go ahead and read it. Mental health refers to the state of emotional, physical, and social well-being. It influences how people think, feel, and behave in daily life. It also affects how individuals handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is not merely the absence of mental disorders, it also encompasses The presence of positive characteristics such as the ability to manage emotions, maintain relationships, and adapt to change. A person's mental health can be shaped by social and financial circumstances, biological factors, and lifestyle choices. Poor mental health can affect physical health, relationships, and productivity, while good mental health supports overall life satisfaction and functioning. So, this passage seems to concentrate more on mental health. So, let us choose the option that is not true. Mental health is about not only avoiding active conditions. The passage does not talk about this. Social and financial circumstances, biological factors, and lifestyle choices cannot shape a person's mental health. Um, it is not true. It can. Okay, so option B. See, sometimes there can be more than one correct answer. Okay. So see if you can put a check mark on more than one box and you can do that. So good mental health supports overall life satisfaction, which is true. Mental health involves reaching a balance between life activities. That is also true. So I think this has only one answer, which is option D. Let's go to question number 19. Okay. Sentence rearrangement. In the early years, when long trade voyages were undertaken, coconuts were granted a special place on board. Okay. And the last sentence is its popularity has recently increased. Okay. In the early years, when long trade voyages were undertaken, coconuts were granted a special place on board. So, by and large, the coconut water was drunk and pulp was eaten. The best part of the fruit was that there were no chances of it going bad. The voyages were rough, or I mean, rife with difficulties. I don't know if this is true. The best part of the fruit was that there were no chances of it going. I'm not sure about that, but they've given it in the passage. Okay, so for reading comprehensions and sentence rearrangements, just don't overthink it too much. If an option directly contradicts, just choose it. It will be correct. Okay, so let us try to answer that. After S1, like in the early years when long, this particular, the logical continuation could be usage, which is mentioned in option here. That is in the sentence B. Okay, by and large, coconut water was drunk and pulp was eaten. This is the usage basically. So that feels like a logical connection. Nah? So they're saying that in the early years when long trade voyages were undertaken, coconuts were granted a special place on board. Why were they having a special place? Because they were imported in large and coconut water was drunk and the pulp was also eaten. So I think it is P. Okay. And if I look at the option, there's only one that starts with P. So it has to be PQ. So let's check if Q also follows or if there's any other option for that. The best part of the fruit was that there were no chances of it going bad. The voyages were rife difficulties. Okay, so the advantage of it seems like the advantage of what they are trying to tell. So yes, it is PQ. In the early years, when long trade voyages were undertaken, coconuts were granted a special place on board. By and large, the coconut water was drunk and pulp was eaten. The best part of the fruit was that there were no chances of it going bad. Its popularity has recently increased. So yes, guys, it is option D, which is EQ. Okay. Now we have a sentence combination. So here you just have to combine two sentences using a conjunction or a compound? Okay, it's pretty easy. Mark Twain is the author of Huckleberry Finn. Huckleberry Finn is a classic American novel. Okay, and what are the two options provided? Mark Twain is the author of the classic American novel Huckleberry Finn. Mark Twain is the author of Huckleberry Finn, which is a classic American novel. Please choose the one that is concise. I feel that option A is very concise. Okay, Mark Twain is the author of the classic American novel Huckleberry Finn. It combines both the sentences together in a very crisp manner. So it is very clearly option A. All right, let us go to the next one. Here we have synonyms. See, synonyms, antonyms, and idioms and phrases. Now, they might ask questions from these and all. See, the other parts of grammar can be taught, can be trained, patterns can be predicted. But synonyms, antonyms, idioms, and phrases, and these, American to British English or Latin words. Now, these kind of questions are very rarely asked, and even if they ask, okay, it depends upon how much knowledge or how much you're willing to expand your mind and adapt to learning these phrases or not remembering them. It is all a remembering game. So don't stress too much on synonyms and antonyms because it's just one or two. I mean, of course, 1 or 2 marks count. If you're lucky enough, you'll get a word for which you know the meaning. Otherwise, don't stress too much on that. That is just a suggestion of me. Okay, because sometimes they give words for which the meaning, most students will not be able to get the meaning correct. Okay, so most. So try to concentrate on other parts of grammar when compared to synonyms and antonyms. This is an easy one, but sometimes they ask very difficult ones. Okay, because that is where they'll keep the check that. Okay. All right. Choose the word most similar in meaning to the given word, adverse. So what is the meaning of the word adverse? This is something which we use almost every single day. Right. What is the meaning of the word adverse? The options provided are favorable, unfavorable, supportive, and helpful. Okay. So the very adverse means different. Okay. It's not kind of adverse or detrimental or hostile. It points towards something that is very vast or something not in your favor. Okay, so it's definitely not supportive or helpful. And if it's not supportive, it's not favorable either. So it has to be unfavorable. Okay, so one example, see, it might seem like the word adverse has a positive meaning, but adverse means unfavorable or harmful or negative. Like one example that I can give you is in the weather conditions. Okay, we'll say adverse weather conditions. Due to the adverse weather conditions, the match is postponed. So that means bad or harsh weather, right? So you can remember it like that as well. Let us go to the next. Transparent. Transparent. What is the this is antonym. Okay, this is not synonym. I was about to say the synonym. This is antonym. Okay. See, sometimes you can make mistakes like me. I just made a mistake now. I just blindly saw the word transparent and was about to go and choose the meaning for it. Okay, so read the question properly and try to answer. So the antonym, what is the meaning for transparent? It's something which is clear to see. So the antonym or the opposite would be opaque. Okay. Opaque is the antonym for the word transparent. Let's go to the next one. Children were quite sad when they did not see butterflies flitting. Okay, the question has been repeated. Flitting among the flowers. Okay, it is flitting among the flowers. I think we saw this question earlier back there also. Between is used for 2 things and among is used when it comes to more than 2 things. Okay, and this question is also repeated. Okay, Shreya will keep working for you as long as you are respectful towards her. Right. So I think some of the questions are repeating. So you might as well feel like these questions, like, sometimes TCS repeats. This is I've extracted this from the previous year questions of 2 years. Okay, 2 years previous year question. So let us check what the other questions have as well. Okay. So just as you know, a lot of questions can be repeated. So sorry about that glitch. It was my network sort of went out. But that's okay. Now that we're back, we can continue. So, like just as I said, a lot of questions can repeat. So that's completely fine. Okay. So let us quickly go and take the other question. Okay. Um, Jack blanked the closet for his keys, but his blank were a waste as he couldn't find them. Okay. Jack scanned the closet, checked, scrutinized. Okay, it's searched. Jack searched the closet for his keys, but his efforts were a waste as he couldn't find them. So it's A and B. Again, it is option D, which has the correct answers. Let us go to the next question. Now, this is a statement and assumption question. The government should invest more in renewable energy. Okay. So if the statement is this, what could be the assumption? Renewable energy is costlier than fossil fuels. Renewable energy is a sustainable alternative. People dislike renewable energy and fossil fuels are unlimited. Okay, fossil fuels are not unlimited. They are limited and the most valuable resources. Right, so it's not option D. Okay, so it is costlier than fossil fuels. This doesn't seem right. Okay. So renewable energy is a sustainable alternative. So that is a proper assumption for this statement. So it is option B. That would be the most correct answer. Next is punctuation. So sometimes they can ask you to identify the sentence that is most correctly punctuated. It could be in words or the sentences as well. It is raining heavily. It's raining heavily. It rains heavily. It's raining heavily. It's raining heavily. It is option B, guys, because it clearly is not. It's because there's no punctuation mark here, and the punctuation mark is wrongly placed in this sentence. It rains heavily. Okay, this could be correct. It rains heavily. It's raining heavily. But it rains in itself is a complete sentence. Okay, sometimes we don't need an describing word along with it. So it is option B. It's raining heavily. That would be more correct. Like if you split it and read it, I think you'll be able to understand. It is no, it is usually depicted as it's right. It is raining heavily. So option B is correct. Let us go to the next question, which are the reflex pronouns. He cut blank while chopping vegetables. He cut himself while chopping vegetables. Okay, so reflex pronouns are nothing but words. They're simply pronouns, okay? They're simply pronouns. But the speciality of reflex pronouns are that it's more like himself, ourselves, themselves. Words that end with self, that refers to you. Okay. So they are called as reflex pronouns. The next thing, spelling correction. I mean, you have to choose the most correct and spell. Choose the correctly spelled. This is very easy, yeah. What is the spelling of receive? RECEIVE or okay, this could be tricky. Like some people get confused if it is CIE or CEI. Okay, it's not option C, it is not option D, obviously. But the first two options, okay, it can be tricky. So, if at all you're clear with it, well and good. Otherwise, some people can get confused with it. But the correct word is option B, which is RECEIV. That is the correct spelling for receive. Okay. And question number 30. Okay. Choose the correct usage. Okay, this is also another type of question that they could possibly ask. Choosing the words with the correct usage. Okay, choose the correct usage of the word effect. Effect. What is the meaning of the word effect and effect? Effect is something that happens after a previous event. Effect, um, effect is something like that also is an event or a happening, but I would like to put it, let's look at the examples. So I think that will be able to explain it. I mean, I'll be able to explain more clearly. The new law will affect many businesses. The effect of the movie. Okay, this should have been effect of the movie. It's not option D. The medicine have no effect. No, it's not that. He is affected. He is affected a teacher. No, it's not this as well. So the new law will affect many businesses. Affect is basically like I think I can come up with um like an example. See, because it's one of the most confusing words. Like affect as a verb means to not influence. Yes, I think that's the word. That's the word. Influence or have an impact on something. Okay. So it basically like describes how one changes or influences another. That is effect. Okay. Effect is a noun and effect is a verb, which is like an action. Okay, effect usually means to influence or change something, and effect is the result or outcome. So be clear with the differences. All right, so here we come towards the end of the video, and I hope you practiced alongside me with all the questions. We saw nearly 30 questions on this video, and I hope it was useful for you guys. And I'm looking forward to you know, um, praying that all of you get placed in TCS and make the most of the opportunities. Okay, if at all you did not understand any concepts, please go back, replay the video, try to understand what is the concept that lies behind the questions. Be patient and answer the questions with clarity. So that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you again in another video. So thank you and all the very best for your examinations. Thank you all.